thanks everyone. That chain shot talk before this was really awesome. I think we need to port our tutorials over to that. But this is really cool. So fundamentally what we're going to learn today is kind of like how to get your environment set up, how to build your first contract, how to deploy your first contract, and then how to communicate with that contract. First things first, we're gonna, if you go to this URL, tiny URL, ETH Denver 2019, that'll have like, that basically has like the full instructions of everything that we're gonna go through. I'm gonna stay on this for a while. Wi-Fi password is, it's the Wi-Fi name, the SSID is ETH Denver guest. And then the password is ETH Denver, all lowercase, 2019, exclamation point. So yeah, go there. Just a show of hands, like broadly in the audience, like how many people have like used Truffle? Okay, so how many people have like deployed a contract and used Truffle and used Ganache and all of that, right? Okay, cool. So a decent amount. But if you haven't, what we're going to do is it's basically everything from what they say, soup to nuts for deploying your first contract and interacting with it. The interaction piece is pretty important because that's going to be how what a Dapp is essentially, is just your regular kind of web 2.0 application that interacts with a contract. Okay, so we're going to give prizes away if you get done with this. We have some fabulous prizes from shill.lol. They make these great shirts, like this one's a shill.lol shirt, and we have some other ones, like this one is like, there we go, BTC to the moon, whatever. And then, this one's one of my favorites right here. This one, the blockchain. That's pretty sick. I really like that one. And then a spank chain one. Cool. And then because I work for PegaSys, a PegaSys hat for somebody out there who gets done, but you got to get done with this tutorial. So essentially, like to get the kind of the gears going in your head for conceptually what we're doing, right? So we're going to install Truffle. And then we're going to install Ganache, right? So those are the logos for those two things. If this is your first time, you don't know that, but it looks nice on a slide. And then we're going to build our first contract. Well, we're actually going to write our first contract, just kind of copy and pasting. We're going to do something very simple, like just entry level, gets you to know all the functions of a contract. Then we're going to use Ganache to set up a test network, which is very similar to your what you would think of as Ethereum mainnet. It's just a network that's on your local that you're starting so that you can deploy contracts and it doesn't cost you real ether. It costs you imaginary test ether. Then we're going to compile it using Ganache, our contract, and then we're going to deploy it. And then we're going to talk to it using like the Web3, right? So that's the whole idea. And so after that, I'll back up to this, because that's really all we need from that. So the whole rest of it is going to be demonstration, and I'm even going to cheat and use my own guide at some points. We want to start by installing Truffle. Okay, this is there are a couple assumptions we're making in this guide, right? Those assumptions are that you have NPM, you have Git installed, and you have browser with MetaMask installed. Those are pretty like typical tools for, with the exception of MetaMask, for a developer. So we naturally made that assumption in the guide. So first thing we're going to do, I'm actually not going to do this one because I broke my environment last time I did this demonstration doing this one, because I already have it installed. I'm not sure what broke, but it did. You do. You're going to. Oh, let's make that a little bit bigger. Okay, cool. So people can see that actually. So you're going to do an NPM install for global for Truffle, because this is going to be like something you'll use in the command line from here on out. And then oh shoot, hang on. And then to prove that like you successfully have installed it, you want to type a nice little like readout that'll say like all your help menus. And so yeah. Next, we're going to install Ganache CLI. And Ganache CLI is a tool to host test nets. And so once you've successfully installed Ganache CLI, it'll give you type Ganache CLI, and it'll give you kind of like an output that looks something like that. Yeah. So, wow, just the MetaMask is just beating up Ganache right now. Okay. So now we're gonna create our first like contracts, and we'll do that. I'm gonna do it on my desktop because like everything on my desktop. And so we're gonna make a directory. You can do this like manually, or you can do this like in command line, however you like. Right, and so sandbox folder, we're going to want to CD into sandbox. Let's see, let's make that a big window. And then inside sandbox, we're going to want to run Truffle init. And when we're inside sandbox, it has to be an empty folder to run Truffle init. And when you run Truffle init, what it's going to do is it's going to import all of the kind of like the minimal viable, you know, Truffle installation. If you've used like React, they have like boilerplate stuff like this too. And so if you list like what's in there now, there's a folder called contracts, migrations, and truffle config.js. I'm actually going to open mine in JS, or what's this called? Was it? Yeah, VS Code. There we go. I couldn't remember the name of it for the life of me. Okay, cool. So yeah, now we're going to make some edits to those contracts. First thing, well, not to the contract actually, to our Truffle environment. Right, this tells us in the guide. It tells us like where, what network we're pointing at, and so we want it to point at our local Ganache install. And so, like, we'll say localhost and 8545, and that will tell you kind of like where the contracts are going to get deployed. Okay, and so if we find my Truffle config, how do you make this one bigger? Yeah, so I'm going to want to go ahead and like delete all this and replace it with the stuff that was in the gist. If you're looking at the guide, it's like over here. Yeah, just go ahead and just like drop it in there. That's right, Alex. I'm not messing anything up, right?
No, yeah.
Cool.
Raise your hand and I'll like try to come over.
Yeah.
Could you put the website that we can follow along with your instructions?
Yeah. That was ETH Denver 2019. Oh, sorry. Yeah, right here. Sorry about that. tinyurl.
Okay.
.com/ETH Denver 2019. Yeah. And so that'll have all the instructions in there. And so now we're going to mess with our Truffle config. We're going to set up like what test network we're pointing at. And then the next step is kind of like writing the contract. So this is like a very simple contract. You can see it's like set a favorite number and then get a favorite number. And when you set a favorite number, it takes the message.sender and maps it to just a number that you would provide. It's like message.sender is, sorry, I lost the lavalier mic. Message.sender is like the person who's calling the contract. And so yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to make a file called simplestorage.sol. Where at? In the contracts folder. Okay, and we're going to copy and paste the contents from the Git gist. The reason I didn't just make like a whole Git repo for people to pull is because like I want you to understand like where the stuff is going and kind of like what each individual component is doing. Okay, so next we're going to write the migrations, right? So the migrations is when I call a deploy, it's how it does like it's able to take an action before it like deploys it into the network. So like maybe you deployed it and you wanted to save off the address and make like additional calls. It's just kind of like a config that allows you to configure how it gets deployed and actions to take after. Okay, so I don't know. Appearance, there we go. No? Anybody know how to make this light? No idea. Yeah. That too, though. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's command, wait. Oh, I broke it. Sorry, I really don't know.
It's in the guide, so it's fine.
Okay, yeah, it's like all at ETH Denver 2019 is in there. I can go bigger. Not that changed the font size at all. Okay, so next we're gonna fix the we're gonna create a migration, and like I said, the migration is just there as a configuration. The names. What are we gonna name this? Deploy contracts. Okay. Really? Okay. Contracts.js, and this is just a simple JS file. Okay, cool. And oh no, that's the wrong thing. So we're, yeah, oh shoot, no it was. Okay. There we go. Okay, so. Well, yeah, doesn't it say that in the guide? Dang, it does. Okay, cool, good catch. So before we do that, we're gonna truffle compile, and so that should show us like success or failure of our contract compilation. Okay, so it's like succeeded, yay! It's almost like I planned it that way. And so then we start moving on to migrations. Thank you. Okay, and so now that we have our migration set up, we've modified that. We are going to we're going to type in truffle deploy. Oh, I gotta start my testnet. I stopped my testnet for good reasons. Okay. All right. Oh no. Okay. What? Oh, I already had it running? Okay, never mind. I guess I didn't stop it. Okay. So we definitely want to copy out a private key. We have to do that at some point. So now is a better time than any. And so in our, you want to go into MetaMask, and you want to make it point at localhost. Normally it would be pointing at Ethereum mainnet. And so yeah, you want it to point at your local Ganache. And so yeah, we do that. And then additionally, we copied out a private key. And so we're going to want to add an account. So we click import account. And so basically this is going to be all testnet ether, like on your local Ganache CLI. And so we're going to import the key using that. Which didn't succeed. 8545. We'll try this one. Really? Why is this one empty too? Do you know what's going on? What? My test RPC is pointing at 8545. Test RPC is running, and I copied out the private keys.
Maybe just try killing it and restarting it.
Yeah, that's a good call. Okay. Okay, and oh shit, that's not the right one. Okay. Import account.
Nothing.
What the hell?
What browser is this?
This is Chrome.
Okay, that seems to be the most reliable for me in terms of MetaMask.
Yeah. Now it has it.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Sorry. So yeah, success means like that you then have 100 ether in your MetaMask. Like that's all testnet ether. I'm not really that rich. And then okay. So now that you've done that, now you want to we wanted to get that configured before we moved on. Now we're going to run Truffle deploy. And Truffle deploy is going to take those contracts and it's going to send it to our test network using the migrations file. So it's going to go look at the configuration and then it's going to deploy it. So you see our contract right here came through simple storage, right, in that transaction hash, and they told us the contract address. And so we need that contract address actually. So we're going to copy that out. Do I say? Do I want to test or do I want to communicate? There's a private key. Okay. So yeah, now we're gonna move on to the contract tests, right? So that we have the contract deployed. Now we want to run tests on it while it's on our Ganache instance. Okay. And so we're gonna copy that out. And we're going to make we're going to go into the test folder. And in the test folder, we're going to create a new file called lowercase s simple storage wait, do I call it test? I think it's simple storage.js. Yeah. Underscore or lowercase simple storage.js. And that has some tests to run on the contract. And then if we go back over to our command line instance and we type in Truffle test, it's going to run tests on the contracts that are deployed. I believe I built in a failure into here so that you kind of have to go in and modify a value. It says the assertion error, Bob's new value was not 33. It was, I guess it's saying it's that's not equal to 30 for obvious reasons. Okay, so we'll have to make we'll have to make a modification to this to show, and then we should have passing tests. That's kind of part of the guide is having that built-in error. Yeah, so there we go, passing tests. We've set up our Ganache network. we've written our contracts, we've deployed them, and we've tested them. Okay. So now we want to interact with them. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, I have a application that is written as like a very fundamental React app and just shows you how you can interact with the contract using like JavaScript. So I'm going to clone onto my desktop here that repo called Simple Client. Okay, cool. So that's been cloned. You can see it here. Yay. And then I'm gonna CD into that. Then we want to modify the configuration with the address of the deployed contract. So if you go back here and you look like at simple storage, right? We have a contract deployment address, and we need that because we need to know how to talk to it. And when we copy that off, and then we're going to put it into the app.js, which is part of the React app. This just does like a variable in there. And where you see this add address here, you're going to want to replace that with your address. So yeah, so we'll do new window, open folder, simple client, ta-da. And if you look at your source in the app.js, you'll see the line I was talking about, address here. Oh, it's so dark. But yeah, right there. You want to replace that with your address. And then that way it'll know what to communicate with. Okay. So yeah, we did that and then that. Okay. So now we want to do NPM install. NPM install is like we'll go install. NPM install is going to go in and install all of the libraries that are in the that are necessary for reasons we won't get into here. We don't include that in the repo. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks. Thanks. Yeah. Just 1 minute. It takes a while to install this. And I'll give you a bunch of warnings. Maybe don't use it in production. I don't know. Maybe use it in production. Yeah, yeah, totally. Okay, so now it's installed. And then we're going to write npm start. Okay? And so npm is then going to like boot up a local server. And it's then it should automatically open a browser. If it doesn't, just go to localhost 3000, and that will get you to the right place. It's going to ask you to connect MetaMask. Actually, I'm going to add that to the guide. Cool. So it's going to ask you to connect your wallet. So it's like MetaMask. It's requesting MetaMask to connect to the Dapp browser, and then MetaMask injects a Web3 library. Okay, and so now we're going to talk to the contract using these fields. So we're going to put in our lucky number. Let's say like 24, right? And we're going to update, and then that's going to be a transaction, and it costs money, you know. I mean, it costs imaginary money, but then we're going to take and we're going to confirm that transaction. And then success looks like that. Like a pop-up will come and it'll say that you updated correctly. Okay? And then you want to check the number, right? And so this like before it would be empty. Now, well, now it's empty. Okay. Shoot. What just happened? Maybe it didn't get mined fast enough. Live demos, am I right? Okay. Well, we have an issue. Should have stored. Let's try it. Let's reload the page.
Have you tested it since Lane fixed it?
Oh, I just redid it 4 days ago. I don't know. Okay. Shit. Oh, account is automatically passed because it's message.sender. Yeah, no, it works, just not now. So I don't know. Say what?
What error were you getting?
Nothing. Yeah. Well, I actually didn't even look at the page. Handling cannot read property.length of undefined. Oh, it's not coming back with anything. Yeah. Who knows? Anyway, that's supposed to work. It doesn't, obviously. Oh. Did I do the wrong contract? Hang on. No, I did the right contract. Okay. Anyway, that should work. It doesn't. So if anybody got this far, like, come get a T-shirt from me, and I'll give you one. Cool. And that's about it.